Hi everyone, it's Lori La Bey with Alzheimer Speaks, and I am here with quick tip number 5. This is actually a tool that I created called Your Memory Chip. And I created this tool because I caught myself not being as gracious as I knew my mother deserved. So for example, when she would repeat herself 45 times in 10 minutes, there were moments when I didn't think it was fun or funny. I didn't have the patience. And like I said, I wasn't so gracious. I snapped. I didn't want to make a game of it. I didn't want to pretend it was the first time for her, um, even though I knew in my heart that it was the first time in her mind that she had asked me. And I knew that I needed to do better. I knew that she deserved better. So I called this tool Your Memory Chip. And it works like this. There are 3 questions that I pose. The first question is, what do you want your person with dementia to know? And this can be used for both staff and family alike. For family, typically it's I love you. For staff, it's typically we're here to support you. But what I found was words aren't enough. We have to actually use multisensory engagement in order for them to be able to reach out and pick up and connect with us as the disease progresses. And so things like the way you approach, and again, you shouldn't approach from the side, you should always approach from the front so they have a full view of what is going on. You should get down on eye level. You should use the same tone of voice, maybe the same entrance and exit line with them, maybe wear the same cologne. All of those things make it a little bit easier for them to remember that we are a safe and comfortable person for them to be around and trust. The second question I asked people was, what do you need to focus on? And when I asked that question, I felt really confident because people in a professional role said they had a job description, and family members like myself said, I have a to-do list. And I was the creator of the to-do list. I loved my to-do list. Every night I would print it out, and I would love checking off the things I had done. But what I realized about 2 months later, after all these people I had interviewed with these questions, was that I had missed something very subtle. And it wasn't a word, it was a tone in their voice. There was this twang that said, this isn't how I pictured my life. And what I realized in that moment, and we all know this, humans have to take care of themselves first. If it's an unconscious or a conscious need, that's just how we're wired. And so I had to get rid of that kind of twang in my voice that said, this isn't how I pictured my life being for myself or for my mom. And so in order to do that, I couldn't just focus on tasks anymore. I had to make my priorities different. Now, not that those tasks don't have to get done, they're still very important. But before doing them, I decided to focus on 3 simple little things. Was my mom safe? Was she happy? And was she pain-free? And what I found was when I focused on those 3 things first, no matter what type of interaction, if it was in person, if it was over the phone, nowadays through video conferencing, if I focused on those 3 things first, I did my tasks differently. I found there were some tasks I didn't even have to do. I found that it made me feel good checking stuff off, but it wasn't necessarily something that was critical to quality of life for her. I found that I had imposed deadlines and timelines that I didn't have to hold true to. For example, maybe it was a medication. If it's not pain related, you have some push time. But I put that added pressure of no, it had to be at the exact time every day. And I know that sounds silly, but those are just some of the things that myself has done, and I know some of you out there have done it as well. I also found by focusing on, is she safe, happy, and pain-free, that I could allow other people to do things. I let go of the perfection and I let go of the control, and I realized that everybody comes to the table differently in their relationships. And it's not a good or a bad thing, it's just different. And as long as those relationships are healthy for the person who you're caring for, then it's okay for them to do the tasks maybe differently than you. Now, the third piece of your memory chip is something that I heard people ask a lot about and worry a lot about, and that was they were worried they weren't going to remember the person who was. The person diagnosed is going to slip away, and they don't want to remember those end stages. Bottom line, none of us are the person that was. We are all ebbing and flowing and changing, and it's our job to capture the moments. And it's much easier to do these days now that we have phones, and we can take pictures, we can take video, we can jot ourselves a note. Some people put dementia-isms down, sayings that their loved one or the person they're caring for states that are just kind of humorous. There are poems we can write or journals that we can log. We can capture moments so that we don't have to worry about remembering them because we've captured them and can let them go. And I'm going to give you a link with this video where you can also download the PDF of the form itself. And I actually took the memory chip with me, and I had carried it in my purse, and I read it at almost every stoplight for a while because it was all about changing habits. And definitely before any interaction that I had with my mom. And it made me a better care partner, and I think a better person as a whole. I think my mom felt the difference in me too. And again, I didn't get it right all the time. I still had those moments where I wasn't as gracious as I know she deserved. But I know I was much better than what I used to be. I hope that helps you too. We'll see you in a week, but in the meantime, don't forget to check out alzheimersspeaks.com for our other initiatives and projects and resources. Bye now.